Want to only talk to my kid's mother, you got it. So this has been about 10 years ago now. I don't remember exactly what the issue was over, probably grades or behavior. Edit. I asked my daughter if she remembers what it was about but never edited this part out when typing it. Nonetheless, I get a call one day from one of my kids' teachers. Hi, this is teacher. Can I speak to Mrs. Yarp? This is Mr. Yarp. How can I help you? I need to speak to Mrs. Yarp. Again, this is Mr. Yarp. How can I help you? I'll just call back and talk to Mrs. Yarp. Okay, but, click. I think not too much of it and continue my day. A few days later I get essentially the same call. Teacher refuses to speak to me and will only speak to Mrs. Yarp. About a week later my kid brings home a letter from the teacher saying they need to speak to Mrs. Yarp, and here is an appointment for her to show up to on X date and X time. I get pissed. This happens a lot. Doctor offices, various appointments have a hard time wrapping their head around a single male parent. Many times I got, oh well, usually the mom bring 'em, or, usually mom takes care of this. Those lines always pissed me off to no end, and I would always make them eat their words by saying, well, mom can't do this since she died insert years ago. I always liked the look of shock and horror on their faces when they processed that information. Anyways, QMC. I am beyond pissed that this teacher refuses to talk to me and only wants mom. So the day of the meeting I get the papers she requested, get dressed up, grab a copy of my wife's death certificate and the icing on the cake, my wife's urn. I walk into the school with the items, and when the teacher comes into the office she said something along the lines of, I specifically said mom needs to be here. I say, loud enough that all staff in the office can hear, mom is absolutely here. Right here in this urn. Here is the death certificate. Go on, talk to her, tell her whatever you need to tell her. You refused to tell me. All other staff looked while she just turned red from embarrassment. What was it for? What did she need to tell my wife so bad she refused to speak to me? My daughter was doing fantastic in math and she wanted to put her in advanced math. After that I filed a complaint with the principal. The next school year teacher wasn't at the school. IDK if she moved or was fired or what, but that's my MC. OMG, wow. I'd be so pissed, but you handled that with a superb sense of humor to make them eat their words for such an offensive person forcing you into such a horrible situation. Hopefully they never make that mistake again. Makes me think of this McSweeney's article one read just the other day. Sorry you've had to go through this a bunch of times, but I do love the MC. They probably moved her to another school. Unions, you know. This is not the type of fearable offense. But it's the kind that justifies the admin to do something. Nah. Based on the teacher's insistence on speaking with the mom, I'm going to extrapolate and say that she also gives deference to girl students and grades, disciplines the boys harder. What if a kid has two dads? What the fuck would that idiot teacher do? Fathers are often considered second-grade parents. This is so stupid. I work at a school and our system clearly indicates parent 1 and parent 2. You can decide which one gets called first and which communication should go where. I can't imagine anyone choosing this hill to die on. Well done, op. I'm a single dad in a slightly different situation. The state has made it quite clear that custody of my kids goes to me, then my dad, but he has to move to my state, then foster care. The only way mom gets custody is if civilization falls. In theory my sister or a cousin could move to my state to keep the kids out of foster care, but sending them to mom for visitation, without a competent adult to protect them, was considered neglect and led to my kids going in foster care for a few months. My wife is very much alive, but since my schedule coincides with my son's, I'm usually who picks him up and drops him off, but still all communications are addressed to her. Dad here, I am a parent, not just a dude who hangs out with kids. Fellow dad. I took my daughter to every doctor's appointment FEOM 1 till 18. The sheer number of officials who called by X asking about appointment X was amazing. I don't even know how half of them got her number since I put mine done as contact on all forms. Whoa. Well done. Sorry for how you had to handle it, but I would have loved to have been there to see it. I'm not even a single dad, but my schedule is more flexible to handle stuff like this. You're right. They are always shocked when the dad shows up for something. I would do that too. I have a very flexible schedule and did the usual mom stuff for my daughter when she was growing up, and I got to do it again for my boys when we got them, foster to adoption, and have had a few people tell me to tell my wife for next appointment. Every next time, I made sure I was taking him back. Never had the problem you went through though. Why is this? I also notice this a lot when me and my wife go out to malls or places with plenty vendors all over the place. Usually I lead in the crowded places and she'll be behind me and all the vendors look at me and ignore me, yet as soon as I pass them they start trying to sell my wife shit or to get her to sample something. Either I'm unapproachable or my wife looks gullible is the only two things I can think of. Next fucking level. Yes. G-bus. I wish I could have seen that. This is fantastic. You were amazing. That was SWWWWWEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEEeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeeee That said, even before my wife passed, I can't recall a teacher requesting my wife specifically to talk about one of our children. And I don't recall an issue with doctors etc. for my daughter, though I usually dropped in, late wife, before it got anywhere near that, just to save everyone from embarrassment. I got very good about doing something else while waiting for my daughter, from doctor's appointments to getting her measured for her first bra. Smug prick got what he deserved. You're a hero. Well done you. Sound like you really earned your revenge. A friend of mine posted on Facebook just yesterday about a very similar conversation. The doctor called, got the dad, asked, can talk to you, and went on to explain that usually they talk to the moms because the dads are too busy or don't want to talk. I get that some dads out there are like that, but I think the belief that dads are like that is more prevalent than the reality. Also, this is just plain exclusionary behavior. What if there's no mom in the picture? What if it's gay men with a child? What if it's a single parent? If we keep talking about heterosexual nuclear families is the norm, we're excluding a lot of families. OMG yes. I'm disabled so my husband does a lot of the legwork. When he took our daughter to be vaccinated, the nurse actually called me up to make sure he had my permission to vax her. I'm like, her dad brought her in. He can give consent, I can't be there because I'm disabled. Oh right. I just needed to make sure it's the policy here now that the mother should always be asked first, why? 'Cause you're kowtowing to a bunch of hyped up anti-vax uber femmes that don't even represent most people's views. 'Cause the louder they shout, the more common sense you lose. I was semi-frequently told it was sweet of me to babysit my little sister when I took my daughter out. She was a baby, I was 23, one time I got, does your mum know you've taken her out? This is my favorite one in a while. Teachers in the US have yearly contracts unless they are tenured. So they probably opted not to renew her contract after that. She deserved it though. Was this a public school? Because a state employee repeatedly discriminating against a protected class is a pretty fucking big deal. Glorious. Sad about your wife passing, but that teacher deserved that. Signed, 40-year-old raised by single father. My son's kindergarten teacher assumed that all moms were stay-at-home moms. Each kid was assigned a week to do special projects, a report, including dressing up for it, and presentation on a historical figure, a show and tell, etc. etc. Something specific was assigned every day and it required that a parent be there to assist. It was obvious the teacher assumed that it would be mom, and that it wouldn't be a big deal. My husband and I switched off and had to take vacation time to do so. Bravo. Excellent. OMG, as a teacher myself I hope she was at least disciplined. We have several students at my school that don't live with parents. Maybe their responsible adult is an older sibling. Or a foster family. Or an aunt, uncle or grandparent. Or hell, maybe, and this has happened because I teach high school, a boyfriend, girlfriend has taken guardianship somehow and for whatever reason. Maybe a student is emancipated and living on their own. What then? You have my support 100% and I'll bet you are doing an amazing job. So this has been about 10 years ago now. I don't remember exactly what the issue was over, probably grades or behavior. Versus what was it for? What did she need to tell my wife so bad she refused to speak to me? My daughter was doing fantastic in math and she wanted to put her in advanced math. Question mark. She probably considered herself a feminist while enforcing gender roles. Classic. Sorry you had to go through that, insult on top of injury. I'm a stay-at-home dad. It's currently okay to identify publicly as a turnip, but I run into the same bullshit on occasion when trying to official things for my children. What a terrible teacher. Good for you taking her down a notch. Mom here, but definitely proud of you. As a mom I say fuck that shit so hard. What the fuck? This is also something that would have taken the teacher 10 seconds of talking to the child to have dealt with too. Hello Sandor Yark Clegane Youngling, I think you're doing great and I'd like to speak to your mother about putting you in more advanced classes. Oh no, my mother died, you'll have to speak to my father. Or, Get this, just talk to the child about advanced classes. It is their life after all. When I went to school, the level of class 1 was between me and the teacher, and I'm pretty sure my parents had nothing to do with that beyond them showing up to prove I had parents at the mandatory parent-teacher evenings they had once a year. That pisses me off so much, how people treat single dads like shit. A good friend of mine is a single dad and went to one of those support groups for single parents. Turns out he was the only male there, and boy did he feel unwelcome. Apparently single parents actually meant single mothers only. Suffice to say, he never went back to that group. Haha, this is a good one. That was absolutely perfect. This was perfect. I'm sorry about your wife, and I hope that teacher learned her lesson. I was seriously hoping there was going to be an urn involved, not just the death certificate. As soon as I caught on to what was happening, I wanted that extra level of embarrassment for those pushing the issue. The only legitimate time I can think it reasonable to only speak to one parent and not the other, if is one parent has sole custody. This was unacceptable.